Hey, good morning, everybody, and welcome to an awesome Tuesday morning Mortgage Coach call. I am Dave Savage, CEO of Mortgage Coach. Want to put a heartwarming thank you to everybody for all the awesome birthday wishes yesterday. It was just overwhelming and amazing how many nice calls, texts, Facebook messages, LinkedIn messages. So thank you to everybody who made my birthday brighter with a nice wish online or in person. So today's call is going to be, spectacular. I can't think of three guests who I've interviewed more, who have delivered more value to the Mortgage Coach community. I know we have Tim Braheem on the call. Tim, welcome, my brother.
Thanks, Dave. Good morning, everybody.
Good. So Tim, Tim, I'm going to be interviewing Tim a little bit, but he's also going to be co-hosting a bit, because Tim is a coach of many top loan officers, and I think Tim and I co-leading this really will help Tim represent some of what he is, leading with other clients of his and learning in the market. We also have Danny. Danny, welcome to the call.
Good morning, everybody.
Good. Well, hey, Danny, it's great to have you. I can't think of too many Mortgage Coach professionals that I've interviewed more than you. And Jeremy Forcier, it looks like you also just joined us. Welcome to the call, brother.
Hey, thanks. How you doing, Dave? Happy belated birthday.
Yeah, no, all good. So, by the way, Jeremy, this picture of you, I know it's not your fault. We didn't get your latest and greatest, but how old were you in this picture, brother?
I think I was like 9. I had just
4 years
had my
ago,
first
Jeremy?
child. Yeah, no. That was a long time ago, man. That's a decade. That's a good decade.
All right. Well, for anybody on the marketing team at Mortgage Coach, we need to make sure we bring the seasoned Jeremy Forcier in future promotional messages.
Salt and pepper, baby.
Yeah, right. So before we get into the meat and potatoes of today's call, I did want to shine a light on the call I did last week with Brian Kretzenberg. This is a guy that helps salespeople in all industries, primarily outside the mortgage industry, use email to sell better, to get meetings better. And I thought he did a great job last week. It was very organic. Tim, you would have liked it. He was very present. It was very interactive. A couple takeaways for everybody who missed that call. I loved his strategy and idea around sending this last chance email for people that have gone cold. They're not responding to your emails. He came up with the kind of science of why you should send that email, and then 2, what to put in that email. 2 big takeaways, while there were many, is I loved this message that if you're trying to get, email is part of how you get meetings. It needs to be the top 2% of what decision makers are getting. And I guess I would just take this one step further. One of the things that makes both Danny and Jeremy so special is every interaction, every touch point that they deliver in the marketplace, it's the top 2% of whatever they give in the market. So just good with email, good with everything in selling. And then, of course, and this is kind of a segue into the call, in this message, it was focusing on email. It needs to be credible, and it needs to be an opportunity for the reader. So we're going to, today's call, it's all about scripts. And, all of the takeaways from the script call, I think, are just a fantastic setup for, what makes a great script. So, one last thought before we set the table. Everybody on this call is a mortgage coach, and these scripts are for Mortgage Coach. So, they're all scripts designed at different parts of the sales process when you're taking someone from, what are your rates and fees? We do believe that doing that and driving that on a mobile device is a better way of doing it. So whether it's a first-time home buyer that's looking at that total cost analysis on their mobile phone, whether or not you're bringing a family into your office and they're sitting down from you, what are the scripts? What are the conversations before you show them the Mortgage Coach? Whether it's a script with a realtor, and Danny, when you do a couple of your, scripts with realtors, let's try to create the setting where they're in a coffee shop. So one other thing I wanted to shout out before we get into this call is we have uploaded a number of scripts of what we call our Getting Started Guide in the handout. So in the handout section of today's email, today's GoToMeeting, You can download this, 40-page, it's got a half a dozen scripts, it's got a number of wizards. It's a training tool. And my hope is, and my goal is, in today's call, we're gonna add to that. We're gonna edit some of those scripts, and we're gonna add some scripts. So, Tim, is there anything you want to say before we just get into the questions in the scripts that we start asking, Jeremy and Danny?
No, I'm good. I'm sure I'll have plenty to offer later.
All right. So what I want to do is I want to kind of go through our sales process in a linear way. We want to make sure that we're going from fee worksheet to mortgage coach. So I think a question, and Jeremy, let's start with you. What do you say to a borrower so they understand the total cost analysis before you actually forward the link? What are some of the framing and some of the conversations you have around this? And then Danny will hand it off to you.
Sure. So as far as framing, excuse me, by the way, guys, getting over a cold. As far as framing goes, I follow a really simple process with almost any script and presentation for that matter. Is I just always go through the who. Who is my audience? What do I want them to do? Why do I want them to do it, and how? So usually when I follow that, almost all my scripts kind of follow that pattern. So the what would be, what are they going to get, and what do I want them to do? Well, if they're going to get a total cost analysis, it's really simple. And by the way, everyone listening to this call, I swear everything I do is really simple. And if you keep it really simple, you will have way more success, I promise you. Because a lot of you on this call are probably way smarter than I am, but I'm very good at keeping it simple so that I can repeat it quickly over and over and over again. So whenever I'm dealing with someone, like Dave, if I was dealing with you and I'm getting ready to send you a total cost analysis, I would just literally explain to you what the process is to begin with. So all of my calls with clients are 15-minute scheduled calls. That is basically what I'm doing at this point in my mortgage practice for personal production, is I'm doing an initial 15-minute phone call with people. Okay? Throughout that call, the first thing that I always ask them is, you referred to me by Tim Braheem. He's an awesome realtor, fantastic. I love him. So tell me, how can I help you? That is one of the best scripts that I have, period, by the way. How can I help you? And shut up. I listen to what they need, and then that's when I get into the framing of explaining the process. Once I know what they're looking for, whether it's pre-approval, they're in contract, looking to a refinance, debt consolidation, whatever it may be, once I know what they need and how I can help them, I explain to them their process, and it sounds something like this. Awesome. So I understand that you're looking to get pre-approved for a home loan. Here's exactly what's going to happen to ensure that you have the greatest level of success throughout the process. Number one is I'm going to email you a customer questionnaire link. This is literally just a link where you're going to fill out your basic information. It is really, really, really easy to fill out and should only take you about 15 minutes. Once that is filled out, that is going to be given to us directly into our processing system, and then one of my team members is going to be assigned to your file and call you just to clean it up for 10 minutes to make sure we have accurate information. What's going to happen after that is that you are going to get a video presentation from me explaining all the different loan options specific to you. So when you get this, you can click on the link, whether it's from a mobile device or whether you're in front of your computer, and I'm going to lay out several options that are specific to you that you can choose from, and I'm going to explain that in a video that will be embedded as well. All you have to do from there is email me back which option you want to move forward with, or if you have any questions, and we can go from there. Do you have any other questions at this time? And I stop. And I got to tell you, 80% of the people, by the way, number one, will fill out the customer questionnaire. Dave, do you have any guesses as to what the customer questionnaire actually is?
I'll let you tell us.
It's a loan application, you guys. Just call it a customer questionnaire. Okay? So you send them the customer questionnaire link. Yes, it's a loan application. I've called it a customer questionnaire for the last 8 years. 82% of people will fill it out when you call it a customer questionnaire. Okay? They fill that out. We get it back. We send them the video. Most people, by the way, will either A, email me back after they get the Edge video, which option they want, or B, they will ask me way better questions. So that's literally my script. I just did it on you guys. That's what I do 100% of the time, every single time, and it works 82% of the time. People follow the process.
Okay, so that makes sense. That was straightforward. What do you, I guess a little more color around, you're going to send the link with the total cost analysis. We want to make sure they click on that link. Is there anything specific you say so that when they get that TCA link, they're more likely to click on it?
Well, I mean, not really, to be totally honest with you, is that they're going to click on the link if you told them that that's what the next step is to getting what they want. So in any script that you guys are going to create or that I use, you have to always remember that it's getting them what they want, right? Not what you want. It's getting them what they want. So, I mean, it's pretty simple, Dave. If I told you that, hey, you need to click on the link and watch the options so you can tell me which option you want, if you're in contract buying a house, I mean, are you going to click on the link? Yeah.
Got it. I just want to make sure they heard it because I still hear that from a lot of loan officers. So Danny, what are you doing? And if there's anything different that you're doing than what Jeremy's doing, kind of call it out.
That's probably not surprising that the process I follow is extremely similar to what Jeremy has. So that initial 15-minute call, and that's absolutely the goal, is we call it internally the hopes and dreams call. And in that call, there's a couple of, we let the conversation evolve organically as long as it stays within kind of the 15-minute bounds, right, and there's strategies we can use to try to kind of control it in that way. But there's a few things that we target. So one of them is really similar to what Jeremy was saying about, inviting them to share their goals. So I'll say something like, well, please share with me what your goals are so that we can see if our team is going to be a good fit for you. So that does two things. Well, one, it allows them to speak, just like Jeremy said. You stop talking, that let them just say whatever's top of mind, because that's very likely going to be the most important thing to them because they were really anxious to share it. And then what it also does is it pre-frames the conversation around us potentially not being a good fit for them. Like we're interviewing them as much as they're interviewing us for whether or not we're going to be the partner for them in their home buying process or the refinance process. And then the remainder of the call is really to create anticipation for the consultation. So I'll say something, after we find out, what their goals are, I'll say something like, well, it really does sound like our team's going to be a good solution for you. And our goal is to make sure that you have all the information you need to make a good decision around your options. So after you spend about 15 minutes with one of my team members, they'll need about 15-20 minutes of your time to gather up the information that we'll need to analyze in order to come back to you with those options. And with that, we'll have a side-by-side comparison of the main options we recommend that you take a look at, and we'll review those together. And that consultation involves the total cost analysis. So we're not introducing the term TCA or Mortgage Coach Edge at that point. We're just pre-framing the idea that there will be a thing of value to come after they put in the effort of providing all their details.
Makes tons of sense, guys. So we do have a number of, let's just call it scripts and touch points we want to get to. But Tim, anything you want to add to that, or anything you want to make sure we really call out?
I do. I want to highlight some things that I heard and pull some pearls of wisdom out of both their shares. So very much exactly the way that I ran my practice. Notice that they're both facilitating a tight and efficient initial phone call of 15 minutes in length. Mine took between 10 and 15 minutes as well. It is, in my opinion, and I didn't hear them say this, but I have a feeling that that Jeremy and Danny both subscribe to this. It's the presentation of the financial numbers and the education that comes along with that, which is the Mortgage Coach total cost analysis. It is the bread and butter and meat and potatoes power experience that you're going to be giving the client. The initial phone call is to fact find, gather, glean their interests and their needs so you can find out where the bullseye is and then throw the dart and hit it. So if you're not doing an initial tight 15-minute interview or less, you might want to consider that. We can tend to, out of our own insecurities, get far too wordy with things, and take things to a level of inefficiency. And the top loan originators in the country have efficient, pointed, powerful conversations. The second thing is that they are repetitive, meaning this is that if you're delivering a different script every time, okay, you're never going to be great at any one script. So what you really want to be doing is, these guys can both recite just as I can exactly what they say because they've literally delivered it hundreds and hundreds of times. It's not a different conversation. If somebody's got a USDA loan versus an FHA loan versus a jumbo loan, it's the same conversation and the same process, and they are guiding that client through their process rather than letting the client dictate the tempo of the process that you're going to then be subjected to, because that's a losing proposition. One thing to consider is, and this is for both Danny and Jeremy as well, what I didn't hear and what I used to do that I think was a really important component of my scripting is that I would always be mindful of proactively setting up any potential competition that I have in this process. And the way that I would do that was by highlighting for the client what is the right and professional way of doing this job. So my script sounded something like this. Jeremy, I'm not a fan of throwing a bunch of rates, payments, closing costs, tax deductibility, principal prepayment strategies, and things of that nature at you over the phone. In fact, I find it to be really unprofessional when when other people that do what I do for a living do just that, because I realize that this is the most important financial indebtedness decision that you're going to ever have to make in your life. So it's critically important that you're well-versed and extremely well-educated. So what I want to do is take the time to put together a very comprehensive spreadsheet that is specific to your needs and to the conversation that we just had. And I'm going to send it to you in the form of a video, and I'm going to narrate it for you. And when you're done watching it, I want you to give me a call so we can go over it to make sure that if there's any confusion, any questions that you have, that I can clear them up for you, because this is an important financial choice, and it's critically important that you're well-versed in understanding of what choices you have in front of you, some version of that. And the reason that that's an important script, once again, is because if they do get off the phone with me and talk to somebody else that doesn't provide, and Dave, I don't know how many people you have using the mortgage coach. It's like north of 10,000, and then you've probably got like that many people using something else like an Excel spreadsheet. And there's like 350,000 mortgage professionals in the business right now. So the reality of it is this, is that less than 10% of the people that do what we do for a living are providing these numbers in writing. So 9 out of 10 people, if not more, are going to walk right into my trap by being unprofessional and rattling off a bunch of numbers that confuse the consumer. And I want to plant that seed in my consumer's head right away that this is the right way of doing this business, and if you run into somebody else that isn't doing it the right way, you understand that they're not providing the type of service to you that I'm providing. So those are a few of the things that I would want to emphasize.
Love that. Love that, Tim. Tim, that's awesome, man. And so if I could add to that, by the way, because that was epic, and it does sound exactly like you sounded 12 years ago. You got it dialed, bro. And number two is that a lot of these scripts, and I want to make everyone aware of this, a lot of these scripts are conversational, right? So I have a script very similar to what Tim just said, but I don't ever launch it on someone personally unless when I ask them, how can I help you, they bring up that they've been looking at rates, or they've talked to other people, or they saw online that X was a current interest rate. So I actually, like, if they even say anything, which is probably 50% of the people, right, bring that up, then I go into my script, and my script is different, but same outcome, right? So my script sounds like this. Tim, that's great that you're talking to other people, and I think it's really important that you work with the right person, but I want to share something with you. I'm not going to offer you anything different than anyone else's. The reality is that all of our interest rates, fees, etc., that aren't niche products, that are the basic product you're looking for, are really going to be within 0.1% in interest rate on any given day and $200 in fees. And if anyone else tells you different, Tim, if someone tells you that they can absolutely get you the best rate, better than anyone, no matter what, you should run away from that person, because that's not how our industry works. So what I'm going to do is give you a comprehensive spreadsheet with a video that's going to explain all of your options and what they are today. And I want to tell you something else too, because I believe in being transparent, is that when you get this, if my rates and fees are better, than whoever else you were talking to, that doesn't mean that I'm better than them. That means that maybe I got a better day, because these rates and fees change on a daily basis for all of us. So if I'm higher than the other person as well, keep in mind if you went and talked to your other broker or person you were working with, the likelihood is that they're going to be higher as well. So I believe in 100% transparency, and just be on the lookout for if someone tells you they can do this and it's better than anyone else no matter what, and they're going to beat it, run away from that person. And then if I am a little bit higher and or lower, just know that you need to work with who you feel most comfortable with, because we all have the same stuff. Boom. That's it.
Awesome.
Awesome, guys. Well, hey, powerful scripts. I think everybody has the table well set. Let's go through the concept that the email has to be sent. And I have seen the mortgage coach link put into a lot of different types of emails. I mean, I've seen it nothing but a link. I've seen it just, lost in this long diatribe. I've seen, really well formatted, nice, clean messages. And, I don't want to say they're the best, but I just, guys, let's not spend a whole lot of time on this, but I do want to make sure we cover it, because I either see loan officers kind of over framing the TCA link or under framing the TCA link. Danny, go first. What does the email look like that you include with the link? Just real quick.
3 simple sentences, essentially just inviting them to call me to review it. So my objective is to not have the client interact with the total cost analysis on their own. So either it's going to have a video, and that video is going to be 45 to 90 seconds, and in that video it's going to invite them to call, and in the email it's going to invite the call. So the email is just bait to try to get them to interact with me, so that we can have a dialogue about their options, so I can really get a good sense of where they want to go with it. So it's very simple. So if you give too much away in the email or in the video, then they don't need you anymore. And the intention of all the communications is to get them to kind of draw back into a personal conversation.
Got it. And then how often are you CCing the realtor on a pre-qual while they're also in the loop of your process? Is that common or hit and miss?
Honestly, it's hit and miss right now. To be honest, even the realtors that we introduced the total cost analysis to sometimes get confused by it still to this day. So we still have a little bit of education internally to do. But the ones that get it, it is so massively powerful that we do it 100% of the time.
Got it. So it's tailored. Yeah. And then Jeremy, kind of same question for you. What do your links look like? Emails where you forward this. If you could just describe it, and then also how often are you looping in the realtor?
So mine is super simple. I use the same exact template every single time, 100% of the time, and I include the realtor on it 100% of the time, no matter if I know them or don't know them. And I don't even care if they understand it or not, personally. Here I'm looking at my template right now. It's really simple. Subject line says mortgage plan, and it says, Tim, if he was the borrower, please click here, link, and see attached for some mortgage options available to you. Please let me know if you have any questions, and we look forward to serving you. That's it. And I use it that way every single time, 100% of the time. And I like what Danny was saying, and I just do it different. I don't think that there's right or wrong. There's just different ways, and I learned something by listening to him, that he wants the interaction. I actually don't want the interaction. I want all of the interaction to take place in the video. So I'm actually using my videos to lead them down a path of what is obviously right to me, but gives them options, and they can choose whatever they want, and all they have to do is tell me which option they want, and I can move forward to the next step. So I'm actually using it as countering the objections before they come up. I'm using it as a choice maker, a rate shop. I always give them more than one option so they can quote-unquote shop their own rates on my spreadsheet. And then I want them to close. I want to close them in that video.
I want to be you when I grow up, me.
Yeah,
buddy.
I want to throw just, I'm just more curious than anything. This is really interesting for me to listen to, because I've always wondered about this, because I'm such a dinosaur. Like when I was using the Mortgage Coach TCA, I didn't have the option of using video. And my intuition tells me, and it's only intuition, it could be proven greatly wrong, that Danny's approach is an incredibly important one, which is to use the video to generate a final interaction that cements the relationship. Now, I'm super intrigued by Jeremy's statistics, and it would be really interesting to have like a side-by-side comparison even of what percentage of pull-through mortgage coach users that rely solely on the video versus using the video to tee up a final like closing call, what their success rate is. And here's the thing, and this is the part that I've been saying for, I don't know, 15 years now, if not more, and I work with my clients on this all the time, is that this subject matter that we're talking about, which is presentation skills and scripting, is easily the most underrated and very much the most impactful when it comes to bottom line revenue for your company of anything we can talk about. More important than marketing, more important than anything. And here's why. If I can give you a script right now, everybody that's listening, that will increase your batting average by 100 points. So from, in Jeremy's case, he's got 8 out of 10 people, or 82%, I think he said earlier. If we can get that to 92%, okay, you do the math on that, we're talking about like an entirely different income bracket if you're talking to enough people every day. Or if you're closing 1 out of every 4 people that you talk to right now, and you can really assess and analyze and tweak and adjust and swipe and adapt some of the things that you're hearing on this call and insert them into your presentation. You take it to the subject matter of meeting with a realtor for coffee. That's a totally different presentation, but an even more valuable one, because if you can say the things that get that person to feel comfortable working with you, or present to them with a TCA at point of sale to a consumer, something in an articulate and powerful way that gets them to roll over and say yes to you 1 more time out of 10 than you're currently getting, it's a game changer. And that's why, like, I think Dave would be super interesting. I don't know if these guys, I don't want to offer up their time, but it'd be really interesting to circle back, say 6 months from now, with a side-by-side comparison to see who closed a higher percentage based upon 2 very different strategies of how they use the TCA video.
You know what's great about that, Tim, is that I know what Danny's closing percentage is because we work closely together, actually, on and talk about this stuff all the time. Our closing percentages are literally within 3% of each other.
Well, if they're within 3% of each other, then I'd probably go with yours because it's more efficient.
Exactly. That's why I said I want to be him when I grow up.
So it's crazy. I mean, they literally are. Both of our closing percentages are just over 50% on initial raw lead to get them to take an app, and then we are closing 37% of the initial raw leads to closings, like fundings, refinances, purchases, et cetera, et cetera. So they're side by side.
Like what I would love to assess and analyze with you guys is how we get that 50% up to like 75 or 80%, because I know that it's perfectly doable. It's just, it could be just a tweak and adjustment, and you guys both know because you're math guys and you do big numbers, that would be like a massive game changer. Something I've been working with Caleb LeGrand, you probably heard his interview about a month ago. We've been really working on that, and it's going up and up, and that's why he's gone from doing high teens to low 40s in terms of closed units a month, because his percentage at point of sale and initial contact has skyrocketed. And with some little adjustments, and man, the sky's the limit. It can get really fun at that point.
Awesome.
So guys, it looks like we're going to have another call to take it to the next level, but so far, hopefully everybody has got a couple things. One, consistency is king, and even though they have uniquely different processes, from a big picture standpoint, they're all delivering a total cost analysis to each and every family they serve, and they all have consistent scripts that they've used, and I think you guys have done a great job of articulating those. So, one thing I want to do, because I do want to transition it to the realtor piece and really dedicate the rest of the call on how do we build, call it the mortgage coach value with the realtor. And Tim, I'm going to have you go first with kind of a 5-minute setup on that. But if you could, really quick, just, while we've got a lot of scripts, and I've heard you both, what you're saying in the video, I do want to remind everybody on this call, we have scripts in the handout I told you about earlier. We tell you what to say in videos, but I just think in the context of this call, if you could just both do 1 minute each on what you say in a video, I think it would be useful for everybody, and then we're going to transition to the realtor piece. So Jeremy, why don't you go first with your what are you saying inside of videos?
Inside a video is, excuse me, super simple. It would sound just like this. Hey Dave, it's Jeremy Forcier from People's Home Equity. Congratulations on getting into contract. What I've created here for you is a video presentation with 3 different options that are going to work best for you. So there's not a right or wrong option out of the 3, but they're just different, and they have different cost structures, etc. So I'm going to go over those with you. So look in your upper left-hand corner. In the summary section, there is 3 vertical columns there. In the first column shows you a $400,000 purchase price with a $100,000 payment at 3.625% interest rate. As you can see, your cash to close here is $106,625. That includes your down payment and all of your closing costs. Your payment for this scenario is $2,000. In the second column, we have a 3.875% option. Here you can see your monthly payments are $2,100 a month, but your total cash out of pocket goes down to $102,240. That's because there's less closing costs and fees with this particular scenario, but your payment is $100 more per month. And then the final option, I showed you a 4.125% option, and you might be saying, why would I want to pay a higher interest rate? Why are you showing me a higher interest rate, Jeremy? Well, you see, we have to take into consideration the cost always when making a financial decision. So in this third column, even though it's the highest rate, your payment's $122 more per month, but you save $7,000 out of pocket. So there's not a right or wrong choice. I have you locked in at all 3 choices. I can change them at any point in the transaction. You will be getting loan disclosures based on the 3.875% option. We can make changes if you want, but we have to get you those disclosures in order to order the appraisal. So let me know if you have any questions. Let me know which option you want, and I look forward to serving you. Congratulations. That's it.
You guys think Jeremy's ever done that before? So again, consistency, amazing experience, and then by the way, I am showing the checklist, that is in the handbook. Danny, real quick, and I know Danny, you do a couple different videos throughout the process. Why don't we start with your first? Just give us, if you want to script it like Jeremy did, great. If you want to describe it, and then provide a little color on your updated video, and then we'll transition to realtors.
So the initial consultation we do at pre-approval. So this is after we've had the hopes and dreams call. They've completed the loan application with a team member, and we've done the analysis, and then we've teed up that consultation as the thing of value. So ideally, we've scheduled a time where I can interact with them in person to go through the total cost analysis. And in that case, the video would only come in the second one. But let's say that it is going out because they said they're super busy and they just want to, look at the numbers before we set up a call. The video would be something like this. Dave, thank you so much for, let me back up a little bit. Danny here with the Gaylord Hanson team at Caliber Home Loans. Dave, thank you so much for taking the time to provide us all the information so we could do a really thorough analysis of your options. This presentation details out the 3 solutions that we feel are going to be the best for your family. There's a lot of information here, and as we discussed in our first conversation, the decision to finance a home and purchase a home, it touches so many parts of your financial life that it's really important that we talk about this together so we together determine which of these is going to be the best option for you. Please give me a call at your convenience. You can reach me on my cell phone anytime. I look forward to speaking with you soon. Have a great day.
Beautiful.
Can I throw in 2 things there, just for coaching me?
Go for it.
Danny, I really want to work with you on not saying you can call me on my cell phone anytime.
Yeah, baby. Tell him. Get him.
I want you to have a life. I want you to work normal business hours, and maybe we could talk about that offline just because, man, it'll be a game changer when you don't feel the need to be on call 24/7. You won't be getting those phone calls on, on the evenings when you're with your family and stuff. The other thing that I just want to say, and again, Danny and Jeremy's approaches are 2 very different approaches, and I love hearing both of them because I'm totally intrigued by the contrast. I didn't hear from either of them, and I realize in Danny's maybe it comes later when he talks to them. But I really want to encourage everybody to not be shy about having an opinion about what loan program you think is best for them. I think that's super important. People ultimately want to follow the advice of an expert. and you're taking the time to outline something for them in implicit detail and show a variety of different considerations, including tax deductibility and prepayment strategies, etc., I felt it was really important at the end to softly say, I think all three of these options, or four, or however many you're presenting, are very viable, which is why I've provided you with all of them, and I can make a case for any of them. If it were me, given what we've discussed, given the nature of where interest rates are and where they're likely to be in the future, and the probability of me being able to rewrite your loan at no points, no fees at some point in time in the next 7 years, and I'm using this as an example, of course, I highly recommend the 7-year fixed at no points, because I think I'll be able to get you out of that loan within 84 months. And something along those lines. But I found that when I was willing to have an opinion, people would follow it much more often than not. And if I was nebulous or without an opinion, it didn't give them the level of confidence in me that I ultimately wanted them to have to follow my lead. So I'll throw that in there for everybody listening. If you're not giving an opinion, get yourself to a point where you're willing to have one.
And Tim, just to close the loop on that, that absolutely comes in the conversation with them. Just based on the full evaluation of everything, we know based on their stage of life, their financial profile, really in my heart, I know what I would do if I was exactly in their shoes, and so we share that in a pretty direct way. Sometimes we basically put the breadcrumbs depending on what their personality is. You have to recognize who your audience is and what their personality type is, and sometimes you need them to make that decision with some strong guidance from you. But 80% of the time, your client wants direction. This is not what they do every day. This is not something that they're comfortable with or subject matters that they have any sort of foundation to build on, and they need you to tell them what to do, essentially.
Yeah, I so agree with what you just said there. I mean, like, I really hope everybody heard that. They need you to tell them what to do. I mean, you're no different. Yes. You're not going to go to an investment advisor, pay them fees, and then choose your own stocks. You want expert advice.
So everyone on the call, so you can benefit from this, Tim is right, Danny is right, and what I'm about to say is right, is that everything that I say in my videos is to get a response that I want, okay? Is to get a response that I want. Most of the time, the response that I will get is either A, okay, we will go with the one that you locked in. Did you guys notice that I say you were locked in? I lock in all of my loans the first day. I don't play the market personally. Okay, I don't have time to do that, and I think it's stupid to time the market personally. So I give them the options that are locked, and I tell them they're getting disclosures at one. That one happens to be the one that I think makes the most sense every time, by the way. And they either email me back that they're just going to stick with that, or they ask me, hey, Jeremy, what would you do? And I love it when they give me that power. When they ask me the question, I have the ultimate directive to go, I absolutely would go with option 2, right? Or I would go with option 1. So we do have to lead these people and tell them what to do. It just depends on, how we get there is a little different, but I think I'm going to try what Tim was saying. Maybe I can speed up my close rate to like 3 seconds and just tell them in the video. I've never done that. I like that, Tim.
Give it a shot. Let me know how it goes.
Yeah, I'm going to do that.
All right. All right, guys. So, hey, can you confirm that you guys are able to see my screen, by the way, just to make sure that that's showing? Okay. Yep. So before we transition to Realtors, I'm just going to show it for a second because this is recorded and you guys can see it. But Josh Metal, another superstar mortgage coach loan officer, in preparing for this call, I asked a lot of very smart people that I respect, what questions should I ask? And Josh, was so kind to not only, give me some suggestions and questions, he also kind of laid out some scripting of his own. So I just showed a screenshot of it. We're at, 39 minutes and 25 seconds into the call right now. You can go and take a screenshot of this and read it. But we're going to dedicate the next 20 minutes to the realtor piece because I do believe when I think of all the mortgage coaches out there that are using the TCA, or when I think of all the mortgage coach loan officers that don't do it for every family, they're like, oh, I only do it for the rate shopper, or this person barely qualified. I don't, or it takes me too much time. I just, knowing what I know, because I'm good friends with Jeremy, I know, hundreds of loan officers that do 1,000 total cost analysis and over, and I know that, you guys should be doing this for every family, and your partners really need to know what you're all about. So Tim, I'm going to let you drive most of this conversation because, one, I know it's something you have passion around. One, why don't you set the table? Why don't we start with Jeremy and then go to Danny around, what do they say to realtors so that realtors understand the mortgage coach value? So, Tim, you go first. Realize, guys, we've only got about 20 minutes left, but, I do want to dedicate the rest to call around this. So rock it out, Tim.
Cool. I'll try to keep it tight, and then I'll toss it to you, Jeremy. So in setting the table, let me first just establish that a realtor appointment versus a client-facing appointment is significantly more important. And that may sound like the obvious, but I'm not sure that everybody looks at it that way. Like, getting an opportunity to meet with a realtor for the first time has a potential for so many multiple transactions that you have to put equal amount of attention and focus into the mastery of the scripting and the presentation on this appointment as you do when you're talking to a client. Now, obviously, you get a lot more chances to rehearse the consumer script because you do it over and over and over every month, and most of us cut our teeth on doing it on refinances, which is how we got into the business, and it's time now for us to really get our batting average up and nail the realtor appointment. And the way that I did it, there are a myriad of there are different facets to how I did it, but as it relates to the mortgage coach, because that's what this call is about, here's what I would like to see everybody do. And I did this with a woman named Terry Morler, who's kind of a legendary realtor that sent me 60 transactions a year, and it's how I really cemented the relationship with her. The first thing that I would like you to do scripting-wise is to, L360 clients that I coach know that I say this all the time: the truth is the easiest script. There's nothing to memorize. I was on a conference call today, a national conference call, with a product that I use within the industry, and one of the things that was posed by one of the presenters was the question of, does the person that you work with really know what you do and the value that you bring at point of sale? And it occurred to me that I've never really sat down with you and shared with you why it is that you should be referring business to me and what I do different from everybody else that's out there that's a loan originator. And additionally, what I'm even more aware of is that I've never taken the time to ask you, how is it that you would like me to sell you? What are the things that you as a real estate agent wish that you could say about yourself to a prospective client that you're not currently able to say because it would sound like you're patting yourself on the back too hard? I need to understand what your value proposition is as a real estate agent to be the best partner to you possible. So please share with me what it is that I can be saying about you. So when I have that initial dialogue with the client for the first time, one of the very first things that I can do to really cement the relationship on your behalf is to really understand how I can be selling you best. So the real estate agent then says to you, well, I'm really good at negotiating contracts, or I'm really good at staging property, or I'm really good at marketing. I spend a lot of money on marketing dollars. Wonderful, great. Thank you for sharing all that. Let me repeat that back to you. And then, you actually role play with them a little bit. Now, you play consumer. You call me up right now. I'm going to go ahead and take the initial call. Hi, it's Tim. Well, oh gosh, how did you get to know Terry? Wow, well, I don't know if you're aware of this, but she's the top producing real estate agent in our county, and I'm so ecstatic for you and for myself that we get to work with her. She's unbelievable at what she does. One of the things that makes her truly unique is that she has a very substantial marketing budget that really allows for her to, I realize that she's got both ends. She's listing your property and she's representing you as a buyer, et cetera, et cetera. Now, after you've done that, after you have asked this real estate agent or any realtor that you're pursuing for business, and by the way, you can ask the loaded question of, what is it that your current loan officer is doing at point of sale to cement the relationship on your behalf? Are they properly scripted to make sure that they're saying all the things about you that you wish that you could say about yourself? And if not, I would like to have an opportunity to be a partner to you that will allow for you to close more transactions on a monthly basis, because I'm really cementing the relationship, and I'm an extended team member of yours at point of sale. At that point in time, once you've asked them to share with you what it is that they would like you to say about them, now you have the right to say to them, may I take a few moments to sit down with you and take you through my process? It's the process that every single one of your clients will be going through when you refer them to me. And I think it's really important that you understand the value that I bring so you can share with them in advance of their phone call to me why it is that you're referring me. And at that point in time, what I would do is I take the real estate agent actually through my process. Now, when I say my process, I don't necessarily get into having them tell me what their income is, what their credit is, all that kind of stuff. We bypass the pre-qual aspect of the process. So you take Danny or Jeremy's upfront 15-minute call, okay? Some portion of that or a significant portion of that is evaluating their financial information just like mine was. I skip through that and I go directly into the scripting part and the review of the mortgage coach total cost analysis with the real estate agent. And when I did this with Terry and I showed her step by step, this is option 1, this is option 2, this is option 3. I included all of the scripting that you heard me say a little bit earlier in this call about this is an important financial decision. I want to make sure that you're well informed. I'm going to provide you with several different loan options, etc. I walk them through all those different steps for their current situation as a real estate agent, or if they're not comfortable disclosing how much their home is worth and all that, we make a hypothetical one up. Okay, and then I insert what I found to be the most powerful script that I ever used, which was the no points, no fees scripts. And it goes something like this. It's, you know, Jeremy, if I'm really doing my job correctly, my job really just begins when your first loan closes with me, because from there, it's my job to assist you in managing the largest indebtedness that you'll ever take on in your life. The unfortunate fact is that most people that do what I do for a living, they just provide the debt and then they walk away and you never hear from them again. And I'm not going to make that mistake. So one of the things that I'm going to do for you on an ongoing basis is I'm going to manage this debt for you by watching market conditions and seeing if there's an opportunity to rewrite your loan in the future. Now, all future refinances that we will ever do together will be done at no points, no fees. Now, obviously, you can't say this to somebody on a $108,000 loan, but anybody on a $250,000 loan or higher, you can deliver on that commitment very easily with your overage money. And when you hear from me in the future and I say it's Tim, it's time, you're going to know what that means. Now, when I went through that with Terry, the whole presentation, went through the TCA, inserted the managing of the indebtedness on an ongoing basis, talked about the no points, no fees, her eyes got huge. And she said, wait a minute, stop. You're telling me that you're going to refinance all of my clients' loans in the future for free, and you're going to watch the loan form, and if it drops by even 3/8 or half a point, you're going to rewrite it? Absolutely. Oh my God, I can't believe that you do that. That's amazing. From that point forward, virtually every single client that called me that was referred by Terry would start off by saying, Terry said that I need to give you a call and I need to do my loan with you, and that you're going to watch my loan for me going forward and refinance me at no points, no fees in the future. Is that true? Yes, absolutely, it's true. Okay, what do we need to do to begin? Here's the point. If your referral partners are armed with your value proposition and share it at point of sale, which comes after you ask them to share their value proposition with you, so you can share it at point of sale with that client on their behalf. Now, all of a sudden, rate gets taken off the table and your conversion ratio goes up dramatically. So when my accountant would call, when a referral from my accountant would call in, same thing. He knew all about the TCA. I reviewed it with him. Okay, he would tell everybody, call this guy, you need to work with him. In the future, he's going to rewrite you for free. He does it all the time. Okay, people would call me up and rates were never even an issue. They were already pre-sold. Why? Because I informed my referral partners on how to sell me. And that's my point. They need to know how to sell you, and they need to know what you have in the way of tools that you're using at point of sale that bring unprecedented value to the consumer that they're not getting from any of your competition, which is what the TCA is. So I'm going to stop there, toss it to Jeremy.
Wow. You know when you have moments when you realize how much you suck at certain things? I'm not very good at this, I just realized, is that I think that I'm not consistent in it. When I do it, it works really well, and I'm not nearly as polished as Tim, but yes, when I'm meeting with new referral partners, and what I really took away, Tim, just so you know, is that I need to go back and resell all my old partners.
For sure.
Is that
for sure.
On the new ones, I'm fairly good at it. Not great like you just were, but I'm fairly good at it. But I need to go back to all the ones I've been working with for years and explain why. Even though they're on the videos and all that stuff, explain why. So for me, with real estate agents, I always explain to the agents is that my #1 goal is to make sure that your clients are never sold anything. Because the reality is that we're not in sales. We're educators and we're facilitators. So I'm always going to include you on communications, especially something called a Mortgage Coach Edge spreadsheet. And I need you to know what that is. It's actually a video presentation that is always going to explain all the different options that are available to our clients so that they can make an informed decision. I'd be more than happy to send you a copy of one when we're done with this appointment so you can see what it looks and feels like, and you'll always be included on those when they're sent to the clients as well. And if you note, when you take a look at one, I always reference you in the video as well. So if you have any questions about that, let me know. But the reality is that I have a big team that's been created to facilitate fast responses, excellent customer service so that someone is always available to answer their questions, even if I'm not available, and that they will always be informed to make the best decision while selling you that you are the best choice for them. So that's what I say to the agent.
Jeremy, that's so huge what you just said right there, and I hope everybody caught that part, that you calling out to them that you're going to mention them in the video. That plays to the ego of that referral partner in a big way. And like, I would encourage you, if you're not doing this, to like use that script. Like, so, you know, whatever it is that they've told you that they want you to say about them, include that in the video in obviously a non-heavy-handed salesy way, but in, you know, weave it in there. Like, you know, Terry and I are so excited to be working with you. I had an opportunity to talk to her after our call and inform her of your qualifying ability. And once again, you know, like, I want to congratulate you on finding her as a real estate agent. Really, there isn't anybody better at negotiating a contract in this county than I know of than her, and I work with most of the best real estate agents. So here are your 3 options, blah, 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 blah. And then you're copying Terry on that, and she's hearing you sell her. That's huge. That's a really big tip, bro.
Yeah, works really, really well. So when you're in the video, by the way, it's really simple. I'll take 2 seconds, you guys. I always open all my videos that are pre-approvals, and whenever they're not even in contract yet, we're approving them. It's the first video they've got for me. I always start with who I am. Hey, it's Jeremy Forcier, People's Home Equity. Hey, I wanted to let you know how lucky you are to be working with Tim Braheem. Totally awesome realtor. He would never say this about himself, but he's one of the biggest agents in our county, and you would never know because he's so down to earth and wants to take such great care of his clients. So you're really lucky to be working with him. And then I launch into my script.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
Can I just add one thing to that, Jeremy? So we have a super similar process. I actually don't plug it into the video. That's a live conversation. But I always close the agent edification comment with, "You are building a great team." So to the client, like, they're building a great team. So the realtor and us as their mortgage partner are going to be working together to deliver them a really powerful experience.
Awesome.
Love that. Danny,
So,
what you got for him?
So as far as our realtor presentation, we actually, I'll actually bring a iPad to the presentation with the realtor so that I can show them the total cost analysis there. And we go through I won't recap a lot of the things, because you know, there's a lot of similarities, not all though, and there's a ton of good takeaways from what you said, Tim and Jeremy, that I'm definitely going to steal. So heads up on that. But essentially, the meeting initially goes over their goals, their hopes and dreams. You know, what do they want to accomplish professionally, and then you know, invite them to share what their pain points are. You know, what it is that they've experienced with other lenders, or what they can almost ask them to describe to you their ideal lender partnership, so that you can then insert where the steps that you take in the process fit in with their ideal vision of what a lender partnership looks like. And so part of that is identifying, as Jeremy and Tim both suggested, how we as lender partners can help them grow their business. So we use a lot of kind of catchphrases in those meetings. So we talk a lot about teamwork. We talk a lot about partnership, about growing business together. So we can, again, it's about framing that relationship around having this equal interest and growing together. It's not a one-side, you refer me business and I close it. It's we're going to be collaborating together throughout the rest of our careers to build something that's very special, that delivers something that's very special to our clients. And so two of the pain points or points of decision that are especially relevant to the total cost analysis are what we call the counteroffer presentation. So that, and I don't think there's time to really go super deep on this, but we share the counteroffer presentation strategy at every single realtor meeting, and that shows them that a lot of times their clients will be acting emotionally when they get a counteroffer that's for a higher price. And we all know that inventories are low, price competition is very, very high, and so the counteroffer proposal is very similar to a cost of waiting analysis that you can do with a client, only it's very specific to that property that they're in negotiations over, where we show them, you know, if you are in a moment where you're having a client that's in a moment of indecision around going up that next $5,000, we can help you show them how that $5,000 relative to the choice of not acting and waiting another 2 weeks or 2 months to purchase is going to materially impact their overall payment. And we can break that down mathematically so that they can really see it. And that, when we have that conversation around how the total cost analysis can help them close more homes faster without having to drive them out to another 50 houses, make another 50 offers, it turns the light bulb on, and they can see how that will free them up to go and help more families.
Super, super powerful, guys. So we're down to about 3 minutes left in the call. Danny actually shared not only his counteroffer strategy, but another mortgage coach strategy that you do called the cross-qual analysis. I'm going to put a link to the video that he did that in the chat of this call. So homework assignment for everyone. I think it's called 5 Realtor Strategies. If you want to go into that in more detail, he has it. But I think the theme, you know, for this call and for the, you know, I think the message I want to drive right now is that they're having a mortgage coach conversation with realtors. They're using, you know, I interview so many top loan officers I know because I interview so many people. They're using apps. You know, they're showing their mobile device. They're pulling out iPads. They're pulling out mobile phones. If people are coming into an office, you know, they're making sure that the realtor understands the unique value they're delivering. They're making sure that the buyer understands the unique value. And let's face it, if the buyer walks away from a meeting with you and they've got your advice in their back pocket or their purse and they can access that information anywhere at any time, you've got an advantage. It's an efficient way. It's a better way of doing business. So guys, we are in the last 2 minutes of this call. I'm going to say one more thing, and then I'm going to let each of you close it with some advice. But, you know, at Mortgage Coach, we're dedicated to helping you just be more successful as a mortgage professional. We're doing training every single day of the week. I will make sure that on Thursday's training this week, we'll cover Danny's strategy, you know, how to do a counteroffer analysis. And then every single Wednesday, we're teaching you how to use your mobile device more strategically. So while Danny and Jeremy are talking, I'm going to, you know, go to our actual website, and I'm going to navigate to our calendar so you can kind of just see where to go. You know, go to our website, click on calendar, and make sure you guys sign up for some of that training. But Jeremy, you go first. Any closing thoughts as we wrap up today's call and advice that you have for everybody?
Number one is that just specifically around scripts, I just want everyone to know that scripts aren't scary. Scripts are just conversations that you're already having all the time that you're just not aware that you're already scripted. So just pay attention to, you know, the conversations you're already having. It's the easiest way to get really good scripts. And whenever you're trying to think of like what a good script or process would be, because really scripts are just, it's just a presentation that's in a process, right? That's really all it is, which is basically what Tim was saying earlier as well, which is true. It has the most impact on your business. So whenever I'm quote-unquote making up a script or a new process or tweaking my process, I'm just always thinking, what is the benefit to the borrower? Does it get the borrower or the client or the end user, the realtor, whoever it is, does it get the person that I'm selling what they want, and does it get me what I want? And that is really the two ingredients of an amazing script, in my opinion. Does it get the end user what they want, and does it get you what you want? And if it accomplishes those two things, you'll always win.
Love it. Hey, but real quick, Danny, before you go, I do want to remind everybody next week, Wally Elderberry is going to be interviewing Denise Donahue. It's going to be a pretty spectacular call, so make sure you sign up for that. Danny, final thoughts, and then Tim, you close the call.
Everything that you will ever hear from top producers is about consistency. You know, following a consistent plan, and scripting is a very easy way for you to do that. We're going to be doing another call in a few weeks around a referable borrower experience and an educational experience, and that I think will go deeper on a lot of the things that we're talking about. And the core message at all times is really having that consistency so people know what to expect of you, and realtors know what to expect, and your clients who are referring you can really share their experience, and then you can deliver on that experience. Even though you've never met that client before, they'll already know what to expect of you, and you can build trust just by delivering on that expectation right out of the gate.
Beautiful. Tim, you get the final thoughts, and then we will call this call a wrap. And by the way, Marcy, I'm unable to push the poll for the survey, closing survey. What did you think of today's call? So if you could push that, it'd be great. But Tim, what are your final thoughts on today's call as we wrap it up?
Well, I mean, I think that it was just an honor to share the call with these two guys, and thanks for inviting me. And, you know, it's interesting because you notice that both of them have commented that they learn from each other, and then, you know, that they maybe got something, one or two things from something I had to say, and they're going to turn around and they're going to implement it, and they're going to make more money because of it. And they're going to be more successful because they're going to have a higher batting average because of it. And that's what makes them great. I mean, there's a reason that they're so good as loan originators and so good in their scripting, and that's because they understand that it is an art form, and it is very strategic, and it literally, every word matters. Every word that you say matters. And you should take some time. In closing, here's your homework assignment. Throw your iPhone on your desk and record the next 3 or 4 conversations that you have with a consumer, and listen to them objectively on your way home. Listen to them with a colleague in your office, and ask yourself the question, if I were on the other side of that phone conversation, is there anything that I'm saying that doesn't sound confident, that doesn't sound assertive, that doesn't sound tight, that I'd like to improve upon? And those are the areas that you really want to work on tweaking and adjusting, and you're going to see that you're going to have more success as a result of it.
Love it. So this call will be uploaded into our YouTube channel, you know, literally by the end of the day. You know, I think you guys did a great job of enhancing what people say before Mortgage Coach. A great job of, you know, how to introduce that to the family. Great job to bring it into your realtor conversation. If you had one homework assignment, it's to schedule a meeting with a real estate agent and walk them through a total cost analysis experience, and make sure they really understand what you're doing and how you're doing it in a way that's valuable and superior. So Jeremy, really grateful. Danny, super grateful. And Tim, as always, it's great to provide leadership and value on a call together. I just saw the survey results, and everybody was pretty much wowed. You know, you delivered a tremendous wow experience, and I thank you guys for the gift today to the Mortgage Coach community.
Thanks, you guys. Everybody have a great day.
All right, you guys, rock and roll. Thanks, everybody.
Bye, everybody.